This guy is TAVION. And this is what he was doing in his last rolling video. And this other man is Danny. Boom, we're back, and today we have a riveting yes-ski match between the cop, TAVION, the blue belt on the left, and Danny, the black belt on the right. Now remember, if you want to get some awesome gear, you can find rash guards and whatnot from my link in the description below, where you can get Pokemon rash guards, Squid Game, etc, etc. There's tons of choices that you'll find on the website. Now what you're going to learn in this role is how to disengage some gi control and how to safely navigate an opponent. With TAVION being the much larger man, of course Danny wants to grab the gi as much as he can, but TAVION does a nice job disengaging multiple times throughout the roll. And also, what are the sizes for this roll? TAVION is around 200 to 210 pounds, while Danny's around my size at around 150 pounds. So there's quite a size discrepancy here, but there's also rank discrepancy. Now TAVION is quickly leading the charge. He's pushing Danny down onto Danny's right hip because he wants him to try and play his game. Danny does a nice job going back towards full guard. It's not closed yet, but he's trying to get some control over TAVION because you want to try and slow TAVION down as much as you can, something that Ben could not do. Now again, TAVION is working immediately to strip the grips. Stripping grips is extremely important if you want to be able to move from closed guard, because if you're in closed guard, you have 0 submissions while they have quite a few, so you need to get those grips offline so you can start attacking. The good thing is that if you're on top, it's pretty easy to strip the grips because you can see where the grips are going and they're always going up towards you. Now Danny is going shins to the chest because he wants to create some pressure and distance against TAVION. But again, as he goes through the grips, TAVION is quickly stripping them because he wants to engage on his own terms. TAVION steps out and he does just that. He creates a little bit of distance and then he comes back in towards the half guard on his own terms. Danny's looking to scoot under the leg with his right arm and he wants to be able to pull him over, potentially towards deep half. But I don't think deep half is a great option against TAVION because that's just a lot of weight on you. Danny probably is aware of this as well. He's monitoring the left arm of TAVION because he doesn't want that left arm to come through and grab his head. It looks like he's just holding hands, but it is very important that you don't let TAVION use his left hand to pin you down to the mat. If Danny gets pinned on his back flat, TAVION is going to have a field day passing this guard and doing whatever he wants to Danny. Now I do apologize, but these guys just love to go towards the windowsill, so the sun is going to be interfering with the roll a little bit. It's very unfortunate I'm not the size of TAVION because then I could block out the sun with how massive I would be, and then you wouldn't have to be worrying about the glare in the video. Now Danny's going for some cross-collar grips, and it's very important that TAVION strips these because cross-collar grips are great at creating a natural barrier between you two. Once he's able to strip those, he steps around the guard by sprawling on the legs. If you can sprawl on the legs, it's going to be very easy to put a lot of weight on the legs and then pass the guard to get into side control or north-south, which is where TAVION is sitting right now. But let's quickly do my question of the day. My question today is, what constructive criticism do you have for me? The reason I ask this is because I've been getting some very, we'll say, interesting comments on the channel lately, so I'm always happy to hear what criticism you guys have or what you'd like to see new or implemented. I have some very particular comments, so I haven't been able to read as many as I'd like to lately. Now TAVION is going for a Kimura attack, and as he's doing this, Danny's doing a nice job rotating around the mat. As he's rotating, this makes it hard to finish the Kimura because he's not able to pull the shoulder out. If the hips are free to move, it makes the Kimura way more difficult, so you should try and put some pressure towards the spine or towards the lower half so they're not able to glide around the mat like Danny was doing right there. Danny is looking to do some gi magic. He's pulled out the lapel of TAVION and he's trying to get his foot in there. The reason he wants to do this is that if he can get his foot inserted and he can push with his foot, he could potentially create some distance and get TAVION off of his chest. I think this is a very difficult technique to do, but it would have been interesting had he been able to do it. Unfortunately, this isn't going to be the case, and TAVION's going to continue rotating Danny around the mat. And what's very important when you're TAVION's size at 300 pounds is that you need to create some chest on chest pressure. This is a great way to keep an opponent pinned on the mat, and this is also why wrestlers are so tough to roll with because they really understand this pressure from their matches in the past. Now TAVION's going quickly into mount, and it was a good attempt, but he got a little lazy with his left leg. Danny was very easily able to grab the shin, then he pushes the hip by, and he gets back into regular half guard. So he had side control and he went to mount, but all within about 2 seconds he lost the position completely. Always make sure to take time on your positions so you don't lose them to crafty moves like Danny did there, which is just known as shrimping. Now TAVION has an underhook on the near side, which is kind of an interesting choice. It's still a good move, you just have to use it correctly. You want to be able to shove that underhook against their neck and put a lot of weight towards their back. Again, the goal is to keep them pinned. You can see that a very common trend in jiu-jitsu is being able to pin your opponent down. However, TAVION was not able to use that underhook efficiently, and now Danny is starting to move around a little bit more. He's getting his right knee in, and he's trying to create a bit of a shield guard. This is great to stop pressure passing because you can create a natural barrier between you and your opponent. He transitions from shield guard into full guard, which is seeing a little bit more of a comeback from our gym lately when they're wearing a gi. Now once he's in full guard, it's very important that he starts attacking the posture immediately, because if he can't control TAVION's posture, TAVION is going to pass really fast. So he's grabbing the gi and he's also looking towards the belt. If he can grab the belt, this is a great control. We can see here that Danny has somewhat of the belt and he has the left arm controlled as he goes for an omoplata. This is a good attempt, but he loses the arm, and as he loses the arm on the omoplata, TAVION is able to go free and is working in towards the turtle. But Danny's not done just yet. Once he's in the turtle, he's setting up his next attack. He's going towards the leg as TAVION is starting to roll towards him. However, TAVION decides to not going to have any part of these foot attacks, and he explodes out of there with the remaining energy he has available. After they disengage, they both decide they're going to kind of reset this round, but it's a little bit interesting how they do this. Once they hand slap, hand bump, Danny goes into shin guard, and then he goes immediately into the front head. And I say it's interesting because being under TAVION in front head is always a daring task. I would never want to be under somebody much larger than me in this position because it puts so much pressure against your neck. With Danny on bottom against TAVION, you're going to see some interesting jiu-jitsu control where he's trying to attack this lapel that TAVION has. This is where you can see that Gi is really helping out his style with his dainty lapel control because he's trying to survive at any means necessary. Even though he has no attack available, he thinks that if he can hang on to the lapel, he should be relatively safe. I don't think this is the best control that you can go for, but at least it's something to create some distance against TAVION because TAVION is coming in quick. Now you're going to see the dangers of Turtle right here. As Danny's trying to roll out of this position, he's almost giving up side control. So you have to be able to go back to Turtle in case things go wrong, because going into side control is going to just put you in a worse battle than he was in before. Turtle is meant to be a slow but safe position, so always make sure to take your time in that spot, and if you want to try and roll back into guard, that you have your elbows in and you're tucked and you have choices available. Luckily, that brings us to the end of the round, so Danny wasn't going to get suplexed in this round, and he was able to save his neck, unlike Ben. It was a good roll between the two. Now that brings us to the end of the video, so hopefully everybody appreciated it. Now remember when I said I went to another gym so I was going to have awesome rolls with me? Yeah, that turned out to be awful because they had like 4 white belts there. It was not a good time at all, and I didn't get to record anything, so I'm sorry about that, but you're not going to see any awesome rolls from a different gym. However, you do need to remember that we have the tournament this Saturday, so if you're going to be in Minneapolis, Minnesota, feel free to come to the tournament and come see me, say hi, get a picture, whatever. If you appreciate the video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, thank you to all my current patrons, and don't forget that you can get awesome gear from my link in the description below.